it was a big show in New York. It was a guy named Fred Greenberg back in the day. It was be called Great Eastern Conventions, and it was at the Park Plenta, one of those big hotels. And it was a 3 day show, and they had just X-Men 1 came out, 2, 3, and Jim Lee was with I think he called himself Homage Studios, Homage, whatever way you want to say it, and he had a big table, a ton of art, and they had a bunch of guys that worked for him sitting at the tables, just going through art, showing it to people. And I walked up, and the first page I ever bought was X-Men #4, the first appearance of Omega Red, and I bought it for like $300. It was
Oh,
pretty
wow.
funny. It was awesome page. Loved it. Yeah.
And what value is that at now?
Oof. I don't have it anymore. I sold it like an idiot, like a lot of art. But that's probably now you'd probably see it go at Heritage anywhere between 30 and 50,000. I would think it's the first appearance of Omega Red. He's a major
Wow.
villain. I would think easily you get to 30 to 50,000 easily,
Yeah.
maybe more. I tell a lot of people when I get people that call me all the time. Hey, what's your opinion on this piece of art for sale? What's your opinion on that piece of art? What should it go for? What should it not go for? And the thing I tell everyone, this is not the stock market. Don't buy art to friggin' make a penny next week. Buy what you love. If you hang it like I hang it, great, and you're already won on the deal. Buy what you love and don't try and buy for investment.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of newer collectors in the last few years since COVID have been buying to try and capitalize how the market jumped. And I think it's giving people a false impression that this is a great business to jump in and invest in. It's a hobby. You got to do it because you love it. Don't do it to try and be the guy that doubles or triples your money. Because you had a good lead. That's how I feel about it.
What's the greatest length you've gone to get a piece of original comic art?
Wow, that's a good question. That one I would like to have a note before, because that's I've
You get
had
time to think.
I've had some serious adventures on getting some pieces. I would have to I have to give me a minute. Um, wow. I don't have something that sticks out of my head. But I've been collecting so many years. Nothing recent sticks out of my head. I will tell you, I was uh, I was involved. I was helping two collectors get a deal done, and on one end, I was just a middleman, just trying to help everybody get things done. And on one end, somebody was had sent it to the wrong address. It got sent all over the place. There was a big issue trying to get the art to the right spot. So I just said, okay. I called everybody. I said, everybody, stop, don't move. I'm heading to your place, and I'm getting a piece of art from you so I can get it to the guy that needs it. So I drove like 3 hours to get a piece of art for a friend, not for me, for someone else, just to get that damn thing off my shoulders. That here I tried to put a deal together, and all it was issues. So that would probably be something I did for someone. As for doing, I don't have anything off the top of my head that I could tell you that I had something so. I mean, I'm going to think of something in an hour, and I'm going to want to call you back,
Yeah.
but nothing that stands out. Nothing that stands out, because I've been pretty fortunate. I see a piece of art, I buy it. If someone has something, I'll give them an offer. If they want it, great. If not, it is what it is. I've never had to really, call Sam to ask Joe to call Frank to get Harry to sell me a piece of art. I never have. The one main piece that I wanted for a while from an artist that he finally sold it to me was the entire issue of Wolverine #90 that was done in the 90s, 94, 95. It was right before Age of Apocalypse started. And Adam Kubert had the entire book. He had put the whole book together. He bought the art back from his artists, from his inkers, and he had the whole book. That was something I wanted for a little while. And finally, after enough twisting of his arm, I was able to get it from him a couple years ago. And I bought the entire book of Wolverine #90. So maybe that would be my biggest venture, waiting. That would be it. The Wolverine #90 by Adam Kubert.
That's your Arc de Triomphe of your collection, then.
Uh, right now, I've had others that I've sold like an idiot. I had, I love buying art from the studio guys, Barry Smith, Bernie Wrightson, Mike Kaluta. I've had some amazing Bernie Wrightson art. I had to cover the Cycle of the Werewolf that I never should have sold. I had one of his Frankenstein plates where there's the Frankenstein monsters in it. So I've had some pretty big pieces. I had owned a Frazetta. I've had a couple of Frazettas that I probably shouldn't have sold. So I could say I had a great McFarlane cover. I've had stuff that might be as big or bigger.
Yeah, certainly the Frazetta and the McFarlane cover, they seem to be ones that go for a lot these days. And I personally
Oh
don't
yeah,
really see that much McFarlane stuff even on the market.
I don't. It doesn't come up often, and when it does, it gets snatched up right away.
Do you have a piece that is the most sentimental to you? Is there a piece that, yeah, for whatever reason, that is the most sentimental to you, that you're the proudest of, that you would never sell under any circumstances?
Simple. No, I don't get attached to my stuff like that. Someone can come in and offer me money for something that I love, and if it's, if it's, I've had crazy offers on things that I've owned, and I never sell. I mean, I owned the cover. It was a gift to me. I owned the cover to Ghost Rider number 15, the glow in the dark cover by Mark Teixeira. I had a dude call me and offer me stupid money for it. I said, "Bye, it's gone." you know, so I really don't. I don't have anything that I'm that attached to. Not, no. I'm looking around my room now. I mean, I don't think I would sell my Wolverine 90 book anytime soon. Because that took me some time to get, and it's the whole book, and I have it framed. No, man, you want something? It's for sale. I mean, yeah, I don't think, I used to have a lot of the TSR, the Dungeons and Dragons art, Larry Elmore, those guys, Jeff Easley. I thought I would never sell it, but there's a guy that's been buying it up because he wants to do a big museum, and I've been selling it, and I've been getting really good money for it. So I don't want to try and say that I wouldn't, so there's nothing I'm attached to like that. There's some guys in this industry, in this hobby, that have never-ending source of income. I don't have that. I'm well off, but ultimately, if I need to buy a big piece, I gotta sell a big piece. That's just how it is. It's I went through a time where I bought big piece after big piece after big piece after big piece, and then my wife goes, "What are you doing with all our money?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you got a good point. I better scale back a little." So, typically, for my numbers are different than others because I can buy at a certain level that maybe other people can't, and there's people that are above me that buy a much higher level that I can not buy at. So there's pieces that I'll just buy, and I'll keep them, and I don't have to sell anything. But when I start getting into like six-figure numbers, I got to sell stuff. I can't just buy it, So I got to unfortunately give up a great piece to buy a great piece. And a lot of times people want to trade. They're not going to sell you a great piece. No, I don't. What am I going to? Okay, you give me this money for this piece. Where can I go and replace it? You see what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
one of one. It's not comic books. It's one of one. It's not comic books. So I sell that piece. Doesn't matter how much you gave me. Where can I go and get another one? I can't. So if you want that, I need to get something from you, and that's what a lot of people do these days. They'll trade to get what they need to get.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. It's a good answer, because I feel like the money side of things with collecting isn't talked about that much. There's a lot of pride surrounding people's collections, and they don't really talk about the money that goes into it.
It's ridiculous. It's a lot of people, they think it's taboo. I'm not like that. I can give two craps. I mean, it doesn't matter what I've said this before. When I spoke with someone else, on a platform like this, I said someone else. It does not matter what I bought this for, because you're not going to pay what I bought. What I paid for. You're not going to get it for that. That's silly. So I don't care if I bought a big piece at an auction and they know I got it. Okay, so I got it. You know what I paid. What does that do? That doesn't mean anything to you. I was doing a big trade with a guy, and it was two big pieces, 6 figures each. And he looked at he calls me, and he says, Rob, I see that you bought this piece like 3 or 4 years ago at an auction for such and such price. So maybe you'll be a little bit more flexible. And I said, no, dude, why the hell would I do that? It doesn't matter if I paid a penny for it. This is the price. This is how it's going to go through the trade. If you want, that's what it's going to be. It's regardless. I'm not telling you I know how much you paid for your piece. This is what it's going to be. And if you want to do it, you go for it. So yeah, a lot of people have taboo, which I think is silly. I mean, if you're buying big art, people know you're spending big money. So what is it? What does it really matter if you paid 30,000 or 45,000? I mean, you're not buying something cheap. This hobby has changed a lot over the years. The prices are going up. It's getting to the point where not everybody can buy it. 10, 15 years ago, you could still get great stuff, and it wasn't. There was a lot of expensive art, but there was still much more art out there that you could buy. That wasn't so expensive. It was still affordable, and it was great stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it does tend to keep it very Ivy League, with prices that high. And part of a huge part of what we're doing is trying to make it more accessible for people at all levels of collecting. And
Yeah,
you could say that people who spike prices like that are gatekeeping to an extent because things just are less in circulation. But
yeah.
earlier you touched on.
I'm sorry, but because you said you use the term Ivy League, and I'm not a it may be looking that way, but I'm not a fan. Look, I got a giant goatee, I got long ass hair, I drink beers, I ride Harley. I'm not an Ivy League guy, so but unfortunately, you're right. Some people are pricing things where you can only be at a level where you can buy it. But again, I got all of these hobbies go through a transformation, right? There's an evolution of the hobby. Jack Kirby pages went for $20 at one time, $10, $5. Now they're hundreds of thousands. I'm sure it was like that back in the day when you went to buy a Vincent Van Gogh. Maybe it was $100. It was on a napkin. Now they're millions and millions. So I think every hobby goes through its evolution of how it changes, and I obviously I definitely do believe that's happening in ours. How far can it go? I don't know. We'll see. There's always been dirtbags in this industry. There's always been. I can tell you stories from the '90s on some of the scumbags I dealt with. There's always been guys that are, they're looking to screw you over, make a quick buck. You asked me about a sentimental piece. I just thought of a story. I have a piece of art. One of my first pieces of art. It may have, maybe the Jim Lee wasn't the first one. Maybe it was this piece. I had this one piece hanging in my house today that I will never, ever, ever sell, because the guy that sold it to me for so much money, and I believed him. We didn't have the internet back then, and I believed he was telling me the truth. That after I bought it, whenever I showed it off proudly as a 17-year-old kid, everybody laughed at me that I was such a fool that I paid so much money. So that was a reminder to me, or not a reminder because it just happened, but that was a lesson for me that there's guys out here that are going to try and take advantage of you. And I've had that piece forever, and I still have it hanging in my house because every time I look at it, I want to go, man, I got screwed. I mean, now it's worth a lot more money, but at the time and for probably 15 years or more, it didn't catch its value. There's a lot more of that going on than probably should be. Again, we have enough tools where we can look and see what something should be worth. If someone offers you I don't know, off the top of my head, let's say somebody offered you a Michael Golden cover or a Michael Golden page, you have some idea of where you can comp it because you can look at prior sales. If someone wanted to sell you a Jack Kirby, it's a perfect example. The artist, his best inkers, his, what, you can look at Heritage or, any of the auction houses and see what they go for. So you have some kind of price comparison. So, there is ways to circumvent getting a major screwing, but still it happens.
Yeah, I suppose it's inevitable. What's the sentimental piece that you have on the wall?
Oh, I can tell you, it's Michael Whalen. You know Michael Whalen?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a pretty famous artist. He did a lot of the Elric stuff in the back in the '70s. I have a gorgeous. I mean, it's gorgeous. It's a Michael Whalen Elric charcoal piece that was in one of the published books. It was one of the inserts that I have. It's a great piece, and I've had people offer to buy it because now it's worth a little bit of money, but for many years it was not. It was it was. I got screwed really bad.
It's like a prison tattoo of a piece you got there.
To remind me every day when I wake up, oh man, I forgot I got screwed like that. Yeah.